of conventional Hollywood cliches and recurring lackluster sequels, one critic has seen it all, who can provide you with all the movie news, opinions, and reviews that could very well save humanity as we know it. This is Libby's Movie Hunt. And now, your host, Libby Hunt.
Hello, welcome to Libby's Movie Hunt. I'm your host, Libby Hunt, along with my co-host, Kevin E.
Hey, Libby, how you doing?
Good, how are you? Happy Friday.
Oh, thank you.
And in the studio, on the line, we have producer Brian Bird. Hi, Brian.
Hi, Libby. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad you can be here and talk about your film, The Case for Christ. I love that Faith gets a star treatment at the box office this weekend. I love that.
Yes, our little Easter movie that could.
I saw that. I love it. I saw it last weekend and I really loved it. So Brian, I want to tell our listeners, is a Hollywood veteran. You've been out in LA for 30 years?
Yes, working hard every day.
I know. Well, you produced Touched by an Angel, or did you write it and Step by Step and Evening Shade?
Both. I'm a writer first, and then I've learned how to be a producer by default.
Right. And Call Me Claus was a TV movie you did that was a big hit.
Right.
And you've also done some other features.
I have. Beyond The Case for Christ, had a couple other bigger features out in the last handful of years. Captive came out from Paramount about a year and a half ago, and then I did a movie for Sony and TD Jakes called Not Easily Broken.
Oh, yes.
And so I've been keeping busy.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, this movie, I loved it. It stars Erica Christensen, and the person who plays Lee Strobel is what is the actor's name?
Yeah, his name is Mike Vogel.
Oh, Mike Vogel, yes. And he was in Wuthering Heights with Erica Christensen, I saw.
Yes, that's right. They've worked together before, and I think it shows up in their performances that they have great chemistry together.
I'd like to see him in more things. He's a really great actor. I'm glad y'all got him. And then Faye Dunaway's in it.
Yes, we're just so honored to have an Academy Award winner like Faye Dunaway, legend in Hollywood.
I know.
Say yes to us, and also Academy Award nominee Robert Forster.
Yes.
And a Tony winner, L. Scott Caldwell. Just a terrific cast.
A great cast. Well, so you wrote this. I read A Case for Christ, and it's such a good book. I mean, it's kind of a hard read, so I was like, how on earth, when I saw this was going to be made, are you going to make this into a movie? But you did a great job because you wrote it. You did such a fantastic job of fitting everything in.
Thank you. Yeah, the thing about The Case for Christ is that it's sort of an encyclopedia of the world's best evidence for Christianity. And there's an avalanche of evidence. I don't know, most people of faith don't realize how much evidence there is for Jesus and the resurrection and the crucifixion and the early manuscript stream and all of that. And, when I got this opportunity, I knew that, we could only have a portion of what's in that book in the movie because it would turn into a PBS series.
It would. It could be.
Yes, it could be. And so, but I also knew enough about Lee and Leslie's true story to know that the true story was so compelling, the personal story, around his investigation into the evidence for Christianity, that had to be sort of, the spine of the movie. It was the framework around the evidence.
Well, yes, the listeners may not know, but the author of the book, Lee Strobel, and his wife, Leslie, he was an award-winning journalist for the Chicago Tribune, and his wife became a Christian, and he was an atheist. And so he went about investigating, took it as an investigative story, and that became the book, right?
That's right. And, but his goal was to rescue his wife from herself, from her delusions.
Well, because he thought he wanted to prove it was a cult. Christianity was a cult.
Exactly. A
And
hoax, a hoax.
yes,
And
exactly.
wanted to get her out of the cult called Willow Creek. That he thought thought she was in a cult called Willow Creek, and so it's a beautiful love story of a man who's trying to rescue his wife, which is sort of an epic idea for any movie, right?
Oh,
A love story of the hero trying to rescue the damsel, but he was doing it for all the wrong reasons until he realized that he couldn't debunk Christianity. In fact, there was so much evidence for the faith that he realized it would take more faith to stay in his atheism than to actually embrace Jesus himself.
isn't that so neat? And now he's gone on to, is he a minister now or a,
He is. He's actually a teaching pastor at the Woodlands Church in Houston,
that's
and
right.
Carrie Shook's church, and people love him. He was on staff at Saddleback for a number of years as a teaching pastor. He was on staff at Willow Creek for many years. Right back at the church that he thought was a cult,
Uh-huh.
he went on staff as a teaching pastor there for many years, and so he's beloved by pastors and leaders around the world. Really, his books have sold nearly 15 million copies,
Oh, I know. It's
and
amazing. Well, in
yeah,
his book, what's so interesting and what you did in the movie is like, I'm going to go down the list, but he examines the record of Jesus, the eyewitness evidence, testing the eyewitness evidence, documentary evidence, the scientific evidence, analyzing Jesus, profile. Did Jesus fulfill the attributes of God? He even went into the medical evidence and the resurrection and the verdict. It was kind of amazing. I couldn't believe you fit all this in really in the movie.
well, it was challenging because the book itself has 13 of the world's foremost experts in it
Right.
that Lee interviewed, and we couldn't do all of that, as I said, because it would just turn into a documentary series at that point. And this is supposed to be a narrative film, a biopic of Lee and Leslie Strobel. And so I knew that we would have to service that enough to make the case for Christ, since that's what the movie is called. But we also needed to earn the right to make the case for Christ by helping the audience fall in love with these characters and want to go on this journey for 2 hours.
Right, with the couple and their love story. And yeah, Kevin and I have talked about this. I think one of the things that is really makes a movie great is a love story.
Yes.
You have to have a love. Think about all movies; they've got some kind of love in them, right, Kevin?
It is very rare to find a film that doesn't have some sort of love story kind of slid in there. Yeah,
Exactly.
That's right.
But Brian,
Yeah.
this movie, I'm a Christian, and it's so sad for me. There just aren't very many faith-based movies that are done very well or professional. They all are kind of look like Hallmark made-for-TV movies.
they're missing the production quality of a feature film.
I hate to use the word cheesy, but sometimes they are. And your movie's not at all. I mean, it's the highest level.
We thank you. We tried. We tried very hard not to let it turn into something that would be cringeworthy. And part of the challenge of any movie is that they're really hard to do well. There is a rocket science. Not just anybody can do this, right? YouTube sort of leads us to believe that anybody and everybody can make movies. Well, it's not the case. There is a certain rocket science to it. And so we've been doing this for a long time, and we decided, we're just going to tell an honest, true story, and we're going to make it as authentic as we possibly can. And I think, the craft comes in blending the script with great performances, with a terrific director who knows how to evoke those performances from the actors. And, but from a theological standpoint, Libby and Kevin, we're believers made in the image of the author of the universe. In fact, all human beings are, right?
Right.
Every human being is made in the image of the author of the universe. We're all image bearers, even if we don't know we are, right? If we're not connected to God, we don't even know that. But the author of the universe, the author of all things, aren't we supposed to? We have a tiny strand of that little, of that DNA in our lives. Aren't we supposed to aspire to excellence, be the Michelangelos of everything that we do if we're made in the image of the author of the universe? So I truly, my whole pursuit, all my career has been, I need to glorify God by doing the best that I can. The good enough principle is sin in my eyes.
Yes. Well, you did a great job. That is something I tell friends and family when I take certain things on of leadership positions. I'm like, I really do hope that I'll glorify God in what I do, So
Right.
y'all did a great job with this. In your movie too, it's getting, I've seen varying reports on Rotten Tomatoes. Kevin and I love to look at Rotten Tomatoes. I see 70% all the way
can't help it.
to 83%, which is good.
Yeah, well, it goes up and down based on the number, on the reviews that come in and pop in. At this point, we're at 77 as of right now,
which is
and
great.
It's been as high as 83 and as low as 70. You know what? I don't make the movies for the reviewers. I make the movie for the audience. But when the reviewers get a faith-based film and they give you credit for, doing a good job on it, we'll take it. And it's rare. It's actually rare to get reviewers who even understand what you're trying to accomplish with a faith-based film.
No.
But you know what? We're just telling a true story. And
right.
We're not going to ask for forgiveness or apologize for that. We're just telling an authentic, true story. And if people have beefs with certain aspects of it, that's okay. But what we're finding is that the audiences are spontaneously applauding in theaters all over the country.
I've seen that on Facebook.
Something happening with this film that I've never experienced in 30 years of working in this business. And I'm just grateful and honored that that's happening. And I think it's growing and I think it's building. And
it's going to be
talking about it.
And it's going to you're going to keep rolling it out in other cities, right?
It is. It's expanding to several hundred more screens this weekend.
Oh, how
for
exciting.
Weekend 2. We really believe in it, and the word of mouth has been so strong. Like I said, the little Easter movie that could.
I know. I'm so happy for you because it is hard. Can I ask? I'm curious. Were the actors believers? That's always interesting to me.
Yeah, well, my take on this, Libby, let me just tell you what my take is first, and then I'll share with you what I know.
Yes.
If I wanted brain surgery, if I needed brain surgery, right?
Right.
I would want actually the best brain surgeon in the world to do that surgery. And if he happened to be a believer, that would just be a bonus, right?
Exactly.
Because I want the best guy working on me. And when it comes to making a movie, there's some companies that choose to sort of only work with people who are believers on their films, and that's fine. That's their calling.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally see films as a mission field. I mean, isn't the best place in the world for non-believers to be on a film set dealing with the case for Christ or dealing with this subject matter? What a great opportunity to share and make relationship with people, to be able to share this most important cure for everything in the universe with.
That is so true.
And,
that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's my way of doing this work, and that's how I've always sort of believed that I'm supposed to do it, and so that's just what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And but to answer your question, I don't know about everybody. That wasn't a prerequisite for us to hire only people that were like-minded with us. But I do have to say that people reveal a lot of things about themselves on a film set.
Yes.
They believe, and most people are intellectual seekers of truth. And I can say for a fact that everybody involved in this movie, gave us that attitude, or that take on things. But Mike Vogel, who plays Lee Strobel, is a sold-out Christian.
Oh.
He read The Case for Christ when he was 17 years old, and he has given it away to all his friends ever since. So he was honored and thrilled to be able to take on the role playing one of his heroes in life. And so that's
isn't that
been
neat?
been
Well, he
that
gave
was
a really powerful performance.
he did.
They
He
were
did.
both
He was-
great. I thought the movie
Yep.
was so good. So how can people, do you want follow it on Facebook? Do you have a website?
Well, yes, they can go to caseforchristmovie.com to get all the resources they need. There's all kinds of resources available to them in their churches and personal study resources, along with a theater finder where they can find out if it's playing, nearby. And then, you know what? There is a Case for Christ Facebook page that you can go to, and there's lots of great posts there and videos and behind the scenes videos. The Case for Christ, you can find it right there. The Case for Christ movie is the Facebook page there.
I kept seeing people were saying the Hardys are behind it. What does that mean?
So I have a TV show in season 4 right now called When Calls the Heart.
Okay.
And it has, I think, the world's best army of fans that I've ever experienced in my 30 years of working in this business. And they call themselves Hardys.
Okay,
because-
like your heart. Yeah.
Yes, it's called When Calls the Heart. It's based on a best-selling series of books by Jeanette Oak.
Mm-hmm.
And they are rabid fans. They're Trekkies on steroids, and so they, somehow, some way, I have become sort of a rock star to them, and they love whatever I do, and so they follow me wherever I go. And when I have other things show up in theaters or on TV, they jump on board, and they're so loyal and supportive. So that's who the Hardys are.
Isn't that well, because you're considered a leading voice in the exploding faith-based media marketplace, really, which there aren't many of you. So thank you.
Well, I just keep showing up and try to do good work and let God sort of direct my path. And, this movie is my loaves and fishes now. We've made the best movie we know how to make. We're putting it, at the feet of the Savior, and we're asking him to take it and multiply it as he sees fit, and he seems to be doing that. So
that's so great. Well, we have to go to break, but Brian, thank you for coming on. I could talk movies and about this movie forever. I want to tell you, my rating system is popcorn worthy, half popped, and bag full of kernels, and I give it a definitely popcorn worthy rating.
Well, thank you so much, Libby.
And I know it will have such kingdom impact, and I just wish this movie all the best, and you too.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate being on with you.
Okay, thank you, and happy Easter.
You too. God bless.
Okay, thanks.
Spoiler alert, more of Libby's Movie Hunt coming soon. Cut. Everybody take 5. More of Libby's Movie Hunt coming up. You're tuned into Libby's Movie Hunt.
Hello, welcome back to Libby's Movie Hunt. I'm your host, Libby, with Kevin E.
Hey, how are you? That was a very interesting interview. Next time, Since we haven't done a call-in for a while, since we've had video on the show, I'm going to put up a picture of the person and put who's on the
Good
phone.
idea. Yes.
I wish I would have thought of that before,
I
but
didn't even think
I'll
about
make
that.
sure and have it ready for next
That
time.
was
you know,
fun
so-
having a real Hollywood producer and writer.
It
talking
was
to us.
for our
Reimer.
vocal platform debut.
So exciting. So that was fun. So I wish that movie the very best. It really is good. Y'all go see it. It's very popcorn worthy. Good movie for this Easter weekend, and the whole family can see it. Okay, let me do a little plug here, Kevin.
Sure.
You didn't get to go see it, but my movie Bomb City,
I know.
that I was a executive producer and I had a tiny part in, won the Audience Award at the Dallas International Film Festival.
Congratulations. I already saw that online, but still,
It was
100%.
so amazing. And so everybody go to
Very exciting.
bombcityfilm.com and follow it, because the more people follow it, it's out there doing the festival circuit now. And we know that it's going to be picked up by a distributor and hopefully in theaters next year. But if everybody will go to bombcity.com and get the newsletter.
And from what I heard, it was kind of a somewhat of a shoo-in. Everyone kind of was buzzing about Bomb City. I had a pretty good feeling you guys were going to win.
Listen, I have to say, I've produced a couple things, and I see every movie. Y'all, this movie it's Oscar worthy. I'm not kidding. I had to invite a bunch of my friends on that third viewing of it. It was sold out every time in like 14 minutes. It was crazy. And my friends were like blown away. But like A Case for Christ, in this film, people love true stories. That's, Bomb City is a true story.
Yeah.
And but besides all that, the cinematography, the acting, it's just, I'm so happy to be part of something so meaningful.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And impactful, that's going to impact people.
It's going to be huge.
It's a dark movie. It's hard to watch.
But those are my favorite kind.
I know, which I like too.
Yeah.
A friend of mine came that likes everything to be beautiful, and I'm like, be ready. But she even liked it. Okay, let's move on. The Fate of the Furious,
Fate
Kevin.
of the Furious.
You tell us, since you haven't talked much on the show today, tell us.
Sure.
Enlighten
this
us.
is the 8th installment of the Fast and Furious franchise, including some to all, original cast members. I believe Tokyo Drift is really the only one that didn't include
Any of them.
what I consider the big three, which would be Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, and Jordana Brewster. I guess Michelle Rodriguez also kind of factors in, and Tokyo Drift's the only one that just didn't have any
Now,
of those
Jordana
characters, but-
Brewster, she's been gone. She's been gone the past few, right?
No, she's been in everyone except
Except
Tokyo.
this one.
Except Tokyo Drift.
Okay.
Oh,
so-
and this one, yes, because at the very beginning, Letty and Dom, which is Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, are married. They're on their honeymoon.
Finally, yeah.
Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster are retired as of the end of Furious 7. So that kind of sets the stage for it, and everyone's kind of living somewhat simply. It's like, oh, wow, maybe they finally have found peace. They're exonerated from all of their crimes. And then, of course, everything just spirals out of control, which is the classic Fast and the Furious setup.
But I'm trying to remember back. I mean, 7 or 8 years. This has been going on for years. They've been on. So it's a gang of. They're like, what would you call them? Globe-trotting team. That gets the bad guys. But did they do that in the very first Fast and Furious?
In the very first one, Paul Walker plays a police officer. Vin Diesel is the criminal who's hijacking, and he's kind of going after them, but they end up having a bond, and everyone ends up friends, sort of, so to speak.
Like a family.
Exactly.
It's all about family.
Yes.
But why are they like now? Do they work for the government?
you see-
That's what I'm not clear on. Is this team Vin Diesel's put together a government team?
They love to come up with all these missions and strategies that are somewhat like would be illegal, but they're making them the heroes. So the plots are always ridiculous.
Totally.
And to be honest, a lot of times hard to follow.
I totally didn't follow it.
There's several of them. I would say Fast 5 and certainly Fast and the Furious, the one that followed Tokyo Drift, where I couldn't tell you the plot at all.
Exactly.
And I mean, I see every one of these things in the theater. I never miss one.
So what did you like it?
I did like it because it put a little bit of a spin on it that we hadn't seen before. They introduced this new character, Cypher, which is played by Charlize Theron, who I thought did a good job. She was very
is
captivating as this.
so
Yes,
beautiful.
she still looks great. She's this villain who you don't know how or why.
Yeah.
It's sort of at the beginning. I know, don't want to give it too much away. Not that
Yeah.
it's that deep of a movie, but has twisted Vin Diesel's mind into turning on his friends, and so they're brought back in basically by government and whatnot to try to stop them.
When he has something held over her, she has
Yes.
something held over his head that's very important. I like
Yes.
that whole story.
They're almost going backwards though, because the movie before 7, it was a big rivalry between Vin Diesel and Hobbs, who's the
Jason
Rock's
Statham.
character.
Oh,
And Jason Statham is the primary villain in the last one. But I know it's ridiculous. So this one finds Dom and Hobbs at odds again, basically trying to hunt him down again with the help of the Fast and Furious crew. You know, where you have Roman Pierce. I can't think of the actor's name right now. Michelle Rodriguez.
Right.
And
Well, and Kurt
Ludacris
Russell.
is one of them. And they introduced Kurt Russell, too.
And Clint Eastwood's son is in it.
Yep, Scott Eastwood is
Scott
also in
Eastwood.
it. And then, yeah, Kurt Russell's character, I think his name is like Mr. Nobody or something.
Yeah.
But he was good. But there's just so much going on, so much over-the-top action. It has that entertainment value that you want, and seeing all these characters. But for some reason, I missed the spark of having the Jordana Brewster and Paul Walker thing in it as well.
Exactly.
It's somewhat like Fast Five was a pretty good installment in the series. And I would still say that I like Fast and Furious, the one right after Tokyo Drift, that was not that well received, but it had the original cast. I still like that one a lot more than the other ones, just because it has every character in it.
How do you remember these so well?
Oh, I don't know.
It's a guy thing.
I guess so. I couldn't. Tokyo Drift, I don't remember that well.
I kind of liked that one, but it had nothing to do with these. But these movies, I'm not a car girl at all, or really an action sequence person, all that. But I like these movies.
They're really fun.
Well, and I thought if you're a guy, oh my gosh, the cars and the pretty girls, especially in
Yes.
the opening sequence, I'm like, this is the target the movie people are going for, 18 to 30 or whatever, boys.
And it's pure fantasy. I mean, just
Yeah.
looking at the physics of the cars and the actors and what the characters go through, they're almost like Looney Tunes characters.
It's
like nothing can hurt or kill them.
Well,
The
and
stunts are so insane.
It's almost like superheroes too, when The Rock and Jason Statham, is it Statham? Statham. See me in the name. We're fighting. I'm almost like, do we have almost like a comic book character aspect going on now? And
It
Vin
really
Diesel,
is.
because they're all pumped up and
It's
muscly.
so convoluted.
It's so.
I mean, and I also think it's not doing anything groundbreaking for film. None of them are, maybe for visual effects and stunts. But I think most moviegoers who are fans of this franchise will see the beginning and the plot and how it's laid out, and you'll pretty much know what's going to happen.
But what about at the end, the submarine and the car going over the submarine?
That's what I'm talking about. Like, none of this is physically possible.
I mean, just crazy, outrageous, but believable in some kind of weird way. And as far as Rotten Tomatoes, it was 66%.
Which is pretty consistent with the last installments.
Here's
Furious 7 was up in the 70s, and 6 was also a little bit higher as well.
So-
it still fares pretty well,
Popcorn worthy.
critics-wise, yeah.
My one complaint, like a lot of movies, is it was 15 minutes too long.
Yeah, do
you agree?
They kind of always are.
Yeah.
I always feel like these Fast and Furious movies could be 90 minutes and easily get everything you need out of them.
But boy, okay, what do you think their budget was, though? Look at this list of stars on it. I mean, these are big name Hollywood
Big
stars.
names. Tyrese Gibson is who I couldn't think of is Roman Pierce. But yeah, big stars. I mean, especially with adding Kurt Russell and Charlize Theron.
I don't know, but we say it's both agree popcorn worthy.
Yeah, and the visual effects are really impressive. It doesn't ever look particularly fake, even though it's extremely over the top.
Right.
Where a lot of CGs these days, such as I would say some of the characters in Rogue One, you can easily tell like it's cartoony looking. But these actually look like it's actually happening, even if it is ridiculously over the top.
No, it was good. I liked it. I can't believe I'm saying I liked it.
I liked it too. I do miss Paul Walker. I really, really do.
It'll never be the same.
Speaking of CG, I didn't even notice the parts that were CG with him in the last one.
In the last one. That was pretty cool. That last one, actually, I kind of teared up in.
It was very emotional.
Emotional.
It packed a lot of emotional heft for such a silly popcorn film.
Right, it did. Real quick, let's talk about Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I took up almost all your time. But yeah, I'm saying popcorn worthy, sets the stage for the summer. Go see Fate of the Furious.
Yes, definitely. I may see it again, actually. And I may see Case for Christ again, too, because there's a lot to, see in that. There's so much packed in it. Okay, Ghost in the Shell, I knew nothing about. You said it's an anime franchise, which I didn't know.
Yep, and there's all kinds of comics, video games. I mean, just sci-fi people love it.
I had no idea. Well, Scarlett Johansson plays, and Juliette Binoche plays the scientist. Scarlett Johansson plays the cyborg policewoman who attempts to bring down a nefarious computer hacker. It's got striking visuals. It's smart and invented images. It might be filmed in Tokyo.
And it's almost a little like RoboCop in the sense too, right? That
RoboCop.
her head and her mind are all like human, but her body is all synthetic or manufactured in a sense.
Yes. So it got 46% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I'm going to say it's kind of popcorn worthy. I think you would like it because you like science fiction.
Yeah, I mean, from the reviews, what I'm getting is people got hung up on the source material, and that's why they didn't like this much. But you having no frame of reference, I think, and me not really either. I don't really know what goes in the shell. I think I would enjoy it more because there's nothing to be disappointed about.
I think I recommend it to you. I recommend it. I mean, not highly, but I do. It's visually just stunning. It's it's the typical good versus evil, humanity versus technology, which is always a good story. And Scarlett Johansson is gorgeous, and her body is perfect, or her cyborg body. So that's fun to. I recommend it.
Oh, I'm surprised. I would not have thought you'd like that.
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't like it as much as The Fate of the Furious.
Right.
But I liked it.
Yeah.
So, but I think you need to go see it since you're my science fiction friend.
But for anyone listening, if they're trying to decide this weekend, Fate or Furious or Ghost in the Shell, you're going Fate of the Furious all the way?
Yes,
Gotcha.
definitely. So we got it. So those were all pretty good ratings today. So I
Definitely.
think we're done. Gosh, that went fast. I'm so sad. Well, everybody have a blessed weekend and enjoy the movies. See y'all next time.